Hi, everyone. We're live now. Welcome to Uprise Astrology Podcast. My name is Aileen, and I am here today live, and I'm going to be talking about the full moon in Leo. We're going to cover Pisces season, and we're also going to talk about some transits I think they're going to be really important as we're headed into March. And I'm just going to do all of the signs together. So we're going to just look at the tarot for today because I am a little bit in a time crunch. There is a lot of things, moving pieces in my life right now, and I am not going to be able to do all of the readings separately. I usually put them out separate, but I've been working in the background on a lot of things for actually quite some time. So for the ones that don't know me, my name is Aileen again. Welcome to this channel. And I am so excited to be here. And I'm excited to put out more content in the future that I feel a lot more aligned with. I've been on this channel since 2016, but I was sick with mold for about 2 years, and it took some time to recover from that. So since I have been back to almost full health, I am just working on refining my format and what it is that I want to do with this work and where I'm headed into the future, which brings me to the full moon in Leo. We are going to have a very beautiful full moon in Leo. This full moon is going to be at 27 degrees, and it is going to come to its peak on February 16th. Now, the full moon period, if you're new to astrology, has a lot to do with is some kind of a breakdown. Okay, we have an opposition between the sun and the moon, and it has to do with some kind of a breakdown to breakthrough type of situation. They're not always a breakdown in the sense that they are massive or they are emotional. It depends on where the moon is at. It depends on where the sun is at, what degree we're moving through. And this one in particular is going to be really, really great in the sense that it is actually going to be, the potential is that we're going to change the path that we're on, or that we're making some kind of a commitment that is really going to impact the foreseeable future in a way that we didn't anticipate, or it's going to feel emotionally very passionate and very heart-centered. And so this is going to be one, I think, of the most important full moons of this year, and it's happening and unfolding on the 16th, and it's going to build over the next 2 weeks and kind of going to drop us off into March. And we're going to start to work out a lot of the details in March. And I want to just real quick, if you are tuning in, let me know where you're tuning in from. And also if you can hear me. I want to make sure I'm testing out a new mic, and I want to make sure that everybody can hear me. So let me know if you can. I tested my mic before, but I want to make sure that you guys can hear me. So just let me know in the chat. So moving on, let me just, actually, I'm going to test on my phone real quick if you guys can hear me. I'm just like so nervous. We're still in the Mercury retrograde. And I hope that you guys can hear me, because I don't want to do this whole entire thing and then it turns out that my mic wasn't on. Yeah, it is on. Perfect. Okay. Okay, great. All right. So the full moon is going to be, obviously the moon is going to be in the sign of Leo, and the sun is going to be in Aquarius, and they're going to come into an opposition of full moon at 27 degrees. The sign of Leo is fixed fire, focusing on heart matters, focusing on the things that are very important and very close to our heart. This is the type of energy and theme we can always expect around a moon that is transiting through the sign of Leo. Now, it is going to be communicating with the sun in Aquarius, its opposite sign, Aquarius is fixed air, focusing on where we feel that our energy needs to go. Aquarius has a lot to do with an energy that we feel that we either belong towards or we feel that this is a part of us. Again, a very personal part of us. So this full moon in Leo is going to be very powerful in that our mind is going to be on the future and our heart is going to be on the future. And we feel that we might be ready now to make a commitment towards a different path in our life that feels like it is the right thing to do. It feels like this is the right type of commitment and we want to take action in this direction. We feel the 27 has the 2 in it. The 2 is connected to our feelings. It is connected to the moon. And so we feel that we are ready to take our life in a particular frequency, a particular vibe. We feel that we are passionate now to head towards this career that we want, or we feel that we're in love with a future that we maybe couldn't even have imagined that it was possible. But now we feel for the first time that this future is possible because our feeling is very much ignited with this full moon. The number 7 is very intuitive. It has a lot to do with our intuitive senses and it has a lot to do with our faith. And so here at 27, we are going to be focusing on where we're headed as far as our frequency, our vibe, and our future belongs to, and what type of action do we want to take now that backs this up. So a lot of us are going to, out of the blue, experience a feeling that leads into some kind of commitment or some kind of action or some type of commitment that we didn't think that we would make. There is a level of surprise inside of this full moon. And the reason I say that is because the full moon is going to come to its peak on the 16th. It's going to happen around 11:56 p.m. And then the next day, Neptune moves to 22 degrees in Pisces around the evening, around 6:58 p.m. And it's going to stay there until about March 16th, I believe. Let me take a look at my notes. Yep, until March 16th. So this is fate. This is an opportunity and a window of fate. And number 22 backs up this action that we want to take with this full moon, this peak of our emotion, this peak of our senses and our intuition where we want to take our life. And then what happens is Neptune is now moving to 22, opening up a door. And this door has to do with the future. Number 22, in my experience, and when I meditate on some of these degrees, they have a lot to do with some visions that I get. And these visions, I want to share. Number 22 to me is always almost like a see-through door. You know, that's the kind of vision I have with number 22. And my personal experience with 22 is that there's a lot of fate that unfolds when we are at the 22nd degree. It doesn't matter what planet it is in or what sign it is in, but it happens to be that right after this full moon, we get to some clarity in our heart of what we want to do and what we want to create in our future. And then Neptune says, all right, we are going to open up that door. And will you be ready? Because there is going to be some type of testing that will follow after it. And that testing, the first one, I believe, and I am interpreting that the first one is going to be on February 24th. What is happening on February 24th? On February 24th, Mercury is going to be in a square with Uranus. Now, Mercury moved into Aquarius on the 14th. So this was yesterday. This is all in Eastern Standard Time. So you guys want to look up where the times are at for you. So Mercury moved into Aquarius. Aquarius, again, is fixed air. It has a lot to do with the vibe, the kind of frequency that we're wanting to attract in our life and what our world is made up of. Okay. The organization in a frequency or a vibe of our world. That is the way that I interpret in a basic kind of sense or the theme of Aquarius. Now, our mind is now on that as well, right? And so what happens is that this window of fate and this window of opportunity opens up. We start to take action in this direction. And so then Mercury squares Uranus and says, all right, are you really ready to do it? Because if you are ready to do it, the square is going to happen with Mercury being in Aquarius at 11 degrees, squaring Uranus in Taurus at 11 degrees. If you really want to manifest this type of future, then something in your day-to-day or something in the way in which you use your way of mindset or your way of thinking, it has to change. So there is a big change or a moment of change of heart or the way in which we think that is occurring based on our personal faith now, based on what it is that we are believing in and what it is that we're thinking as a result of it. I want to back up just to give you a little bit of a bigger picture of why I think there is this first test and this first change that is occurring on the 24th before we finish up this moon cycle. The reason I'm saying that also is because the astrology is perfect, right? Everything is always in perfect synchronicity with the sky. The day before this square is happening, we are going to be at our last quarter moon at 5 degrees in Sagittarius. So that this is going to be unfolding also in the evening around 5:30 p.m. And so this is when the last quarter moon is all about us integrating now a change of belief. Sagittarius has to do with belief. And so we are in this mindset now and in this belief structure that has to get refined and has to get worked over. And we have to integrate what we saw as a vision into what meets now fated events or a feeling that backs up, okay, this is the right direction to go to with, okay, if I believe that I can do this, then there are going to be some things that are going to come up that will test my faith, and I have to be okay with it. I have to learn how to navigate these times, or I have to learn how to expand on my personal belief. What are some of the boundaries that I have to uphold that are really important for me to uphold? Because if I have these boundaries, then I can stay on this path and I can stay towards this future or the path that I'm trying to design for myself. Now, I want to talk about boundaries because that last quarter moon in Scorpio on the 23rd, there is another really interesting transit that's happening. And that is that the moon is going to be in Scorpio before it moves into the last quarter moon in Sagittarius. It is going to pass over the South Node. I think it's going to happen the same day on the 23rd, but it's definitely happening before the last quarter moon. And the South Node in Scorpio, it has a lot to do with our boundary structures in life. We have to become adamant about the boundaries that we're holding, because without certain boundaries, we cannot create. We can absolutely not move forward. So many of us in 2022 into 2023, we will be learning how to really transform and transmute some of this energy, but it cannot be with manipulation. It cannot be with us avoiding the subject. It has to be in a way where we take what the universe is showing us and we strengthen through the boundaries that we put into place. And that doesn't necessarily mean that we have to be, angry about it or manipulative about it. It just means that we are in a place where we're going to get tested on what it is that we believe. And are we going to communicate what is so important to our world? This is going to come up, I believe, next week, because of the way in which I'm reading the transits and the planets, I think we are going to be in this place where there's going to be a lot of change and a lot of moving pieces as we head into March. But the first pit stop is going to be when Mercury is going to square Uranus. Now, I'm just going to look in the chat real quick since we're doing this live, and I'm excited to be here with you guys. Hi, Jen. Hi, Molly. It's great to see you guys. Jennifer is saying this full moon is conjunct my Venus and I'm a Libra rising. Looking forward to seeing what develops. Yes, I'm a Libra rising too. We're in it together. So you have definitely some amazing things that are finishing up in your fourth house. Pluto is transiting through your fourth house, and you're definitely making some strides when it comes to emotional comfort zones. So this is what I'm seeing. Now, what is going to be Pisces season all about? I think Pisces season is going to be one that is going to test us in the sense that there is a lot of change. And are we going to keep up with the change? There's a lot of squares happening. I'm going to discuss that in the other videos that I will be putting out. There's a lot of change that's happening in March. In fact, the energies are building. And what I'm seeing from looking at the astrology for this year, we are truly coming into a lot of energy building and intensity all the way until July. That's when it really starts to peak. And it is going to be an interesting year, that's for certain, because the universe is really making us take a look at our integrity with how we live, our integrity with how we treat each other, our integrity with how we treat ourselves first and foremost, but how do we actually apply who we are out there in the world, and how do we organize a lot of that? We are going to be shifting and changing all of this and bringing things into a life that has a lot more value, not only for us, but also impacts the people around us in a way, whether it's our family or our friends or the people that are around us, in a way that there's harmony, or there's at least some level of coexisting. Okay. This is the challenge. We have been in this challenge for the last many years. Okay. And what the energies I feel are really showing us now is that what are we going to do with what we're being given? Are we going to repeat the past, or are we actually going to create something different that gives us a life at a much more upgraded level? This is the choice that is going to be up to us all throughout this year. But it requires a lot of bravery, and it requires a lot of, I would say, a lot of like change, as far as being able to add ingredients in there, such as compassion, being able to add ingredients in there of what makes us feel safe and what do we value, and will we keep the boundaries intact, or will we form the necessary boundaries in order to live a life that feels a lot more secure and stable? Because there are going to be challenges in regards to the themes of safety, in regards to the themes of also just in general, like crossing the boundaries, right? What does it really look like to coexist when we have different mindsets and different belief structures? We are going to see this all across the board everywhere this year. How do we keep each other at a place where we respect, we love each other maybe, but is there the ingredients of compassion, and is there the ingredients of respect? And how can we upkeep this type of living where we respect each other's differences and points of views? This is going to come into play. By no means will this year be easy. This year will challenge us to absolutely come into alignment with what we know to be true at our deepest level, right? Because the South Node is in Scorpio. So we are realigning boundaries all year long so that the North Node in Taurus can give us an opportunity to triumph in an area of our life, depending on where it transits in your chart, triumph over an area of our life that, or create something we've never created before, because the North Node is a new territory. That is at least how I'm interpreting. Now, before we're going to dive into all of the 12 signs, I want to just share with you that you can support my channel. There is a donating button. You can support my channel that way. You can book a reading right now. All of my one-on-one readings are booked up until July. I am very swamped. I am actually quite overwhelmed because I haven't even grown on this channel a lot, but I do have a lot of clients, and you can see that, this work is definitely growing on all levels. A lot more people are diving into guidance or wanting to know themes and wanting to help themselves to navigate. I'm happy to do that for you. A one-on-one session where we're live on Zoom, those will be available again in July. You can book a recorded version of your reading. Right now, it takes me about 21 business days to deliver that. Just because I am working long hours and this is not the only thing that I'm doing. And so this is the way in which you can work with me, or you can support my channel this way. I am looking forward for the first time in a long time where I am going to be here on a weekly basis with you guys live. I am very excited about that because, as you know, I was sick with mold illness. I was living in a mold infected home, and it really messed me up. It messed me up to the point where it was a daily fight for my health. And I am finally coming to a point where my energy levels have been steady. And so I am immensely grateful that I'm in this place in my life. And so I'm excited to continue to put out more work that I think will be beneficial for you. Anything that I say in these readings are meant to be taken to help you how it needs to help you. Because it's a general reading, I'm not going to be able to tailor the reading exactly to what it is that you need, but it will at least provide you with themes for your particular sign. You can listen to your sun sign. That is going to be your inner world, meaning stuff that you're working in the day-to-day right now from within the heart space. You can listen to your rising sign. That will give you a little bit of a theme to what is happening with the world and how you're interacting with the world around you and the people that are also inside of your world and the communities that you're a part of. You can also listen to your moon sign. The moon is going to give you the emotional currency of what it is that you're working on. And so you can put this reading together by listening to all three signs if you know it, or you can just listen to one, whatever resonates the most. If there's something that doesn't resonate, like I always say, do not, take it too seriously. Where there's thousands and thousands of readers now out here in the YouTube world. And if stuff doesn't resonate, you just move on from it. I only want you to take the parts that help you to navigate what comes next in your life, and, don't move on from something that may not resonate. If you guys have no other questions, we're going to dive into, or no other comments, I'm just going to check in with the chat again. Then we are going to be taking a look at the tarot. We're just going to be able to cover the tarot for the live. And this is going to be a 2-week prediction. I'm just going to freestyle shuffle the cards, and we're going to see if there's more than one card that falls out. We're going to read all of the cards for each of the signs. And again, if you are here for the first time, if you're interacting here with me for the first time or not, just let me know where you're tuning in from. I always love getting to know you guys. It's kind of cool that we get to connect online. Or you could let me know what your sign is. That's always fun, right? Is it Raquel? Hi, Raquel. It's nice to meet you. Okay, Jennifer says, yes, moved in with family recently, lots of fourth house changes. Yes. Libra risings will be in a whole new world when Pluto moves on into Aquarius. So embrace all of the changes right now, because none of us can avoid what Pluto brings into our life. From Toronto, yeah. How are things in Toronto right now? I am in Florida. Right now, it is pretty cold where I'm at. I'm a little bit in the zone where it gets colder during this time of the year, but honestly, it's only cold for like 1 month, and then it goes back into hot weather after that. Pisces sun, Cancer rising, Libra moon from Maryland. Yes. Yes, Molly. Welcome, welcome. It is freezing cold. Yes. It is good weather for some amazing food then. Okay, we're going to start with Aries, sun, moon, or rising. Aries, a bunch of cards that fell out for you. The first two cards, the sun and the Three of Swords. So the first thing I'm getting from this is that a lot of you are in this very interesting place right now that has a lot to do with you almost experiencing your life that things are new. There's a lot of new things that are happening. You have a lot of new daily commitments. There's some things that you're doing in the day-to-day. It feels like that you are actually really enjoying, or there's parts of you about who you are that you feel like are either refreshed or coming back into a level of excitement, something that you had not experienced in a while. So there's a part of you that is enjoying this. There's a part of you that feels like, okay, I am in this place where, I'm filling my life again in a way that I've been longing for, I've been wanting. But at the same time, there are some conversations right now that are happening in your life that are making you really think about romance, which is the next card. This is interesting, Knight of Cups. Now, this is what I'm seeing. A bunch of you are either in a new committed relationship or in a relationship that is still unfolding, or you have revived somehow your romance, or you're trying to make plans to sort of up the game in your relationship or relationships. But a part of you feels hesitant about it. And what is it? Because you feel that you are feeling different about the relationship, or you feel like you want to wait. Is it that you're wanting to wait for your partner to give you a piece of information, or there's a suspicion somehow? I'm not sure what the suspicion is about, or if it's not suspicion, it is that you're wondering about a particular subject inside of your relationship. And you may have to make a decision. So a part of you wants to play it safe. This is interesting, Aries. So what I'm predicting, the Knight of Pentacles with the Queen of Swords, that by next week, you will have the clarity that you are trying to gain. Things are going to become a lot more clear. And I would also say that you are going to be taking a risk, either when it comes to money making or the themes of career, but it has to do with changes inside of relationship dynamics as well. This will play a big role. And in fact, a lot of it will also play out still in March and in April. So this is really interesting. I would say the most important message for you right now is that this is a time where you are to embrace the changes that are happening, and patience will pay off when it comes to your relationships, because your relationships, they are going to be revealing a lot more, and what they're revealing will impact the both of you or the emotional currency. And it's almost like if you're dating more than one person, we'll just take that as an example, then you kind of want to see where your heart really is at, because a part of you might be having fun, but also might enjoy a different type of vibe at the same time that you're only getting from this other relationship. There's something like this going on, or that you are hesitant to fully commit and upgrade. Give yourself some time. Do not rush right now, because you are working over the process of changing the way in which you think and how you also want to communicate, how you actually want to receive. You are still in the process of really coming back to yourself, because you are to see where you kind of lost yourself and why you lost yourself in the first place. This is going to be key. This is an important aspect for you, Aries. So you are to pay attention to that over the next couple of weeks. Whew, powerful message. If you are an Aries, let me know how life is unfolding for you right now. Okay. Taurus. Okay, Taurus. Believe it or not, we have the Lover's card. Okay. And we have the Six of Cups. These are the two cards that fell out. The first thing I'm getting from you is that you're in this place where you're just so ready to enjoy your life again. Let's just say that. But the stuff that you're trying to enjoy right now, they require for you to understand what weighs you down. It has to do with a fear. It's really interesting. Okay. There's a part of you that fears some kind of change in your life that is about to happen, and you know that it's about to happen. It's a long time coming. But you're sort of maybe afraid that, you know what I'm getting from this? You're sort of afraid to be like really successful in this area. Is it really going to work out the way that you think it is going to work out? I'm going to tell you something right now, Taurus. It is going to work out, and even better than what you imagine. And at the same time, these two cards have a lot to do with the ability to receive. You see, for the last like 5 years plus, you have been in this place where you've been giving a lot. And so the boundaries you are drawing, or you are being invited to draw right now, has a lot to do with how much do you actually also receive from your relationships? What is the capacity of that? Because that is what's growing this year. This is the question. How much are you willing to receive? How much do you receive? Because a lot of your happiness and a lot of the stuff that you're trying to, focus on now have a lot to do with your ability to receive. And where do you shut that off based on a fear that things may not work out, or you may also feel like you need to protect yourself. And if you feel like that you need to protect yourself, then where is that coming from? A little bit of digging right now is going to clear this aspect of your life, and it will go a long way, because what you are wanting to create inside of your life and also with the relationships around you, it can really truly happen now. And it's got to be a slow build, which you are okay with that. But the first thing that I see is the subject and theme of receiving, and what is the blockage there? That is what you guys are going to be working out. I also see that next week in general for you guys is going to be super exciting, because there is going to be some unexpected news that you're going to receive that will be very positive, and it's going to put you into a forward thinking vibe. Karunya? Is that how you say your name? Hello. All right, we're going to move on to Gemini, sun, moon, or rising. Gemini, sun, moon, or rising. And again, if you're just now joining, we are taking a look at the next 2 weeks. So, Gemini, you're trying to give up some things right now. And the things that you're giving up have to do with emotional attachments. You have been working on this very specifically over the last 6 months. And it has a lot to do with you're sort of in this place like you want a little bit more out of your life. You need to be able to put yourself back into a place where you are, it's almost like, the feeling that I'm getting from you, Gemini, is this like, it has to do with purpose. You see, you want to feel like that you have purpose in your life, but there are some things right now that you may be taking a look at, and this has to do with relationships. I'm sorry to say, but it has also to do with attachments. So it can be attachments to relationships, or it can be attachments to habits. These two themes are definitely coming up a lot right now when I'm taking a look at these two cards. What needs to end? That's the question. What needs to end right now in your life? It could be something small. It could be a relationship. It could be a habit. And when that ends, you actually are able to clear out confusion. What creates confusion in your life that seems to be a constant sort of vicious cycle? You're trying to get out of it, or over the next 2 weeks, you will see what it is. And it might be a surprise, but I feel like for a lot of you, you've been working on it for 6 months or so. There's more cards. Why are you trying to get out of it? Because there's a part of you that feels like you just want to be freer. You want to live more free, but you also are maybe longing for either a group of people, or you're wanting to create relationship dynamics around you where you're more with like-minded people, where life seems to be offering you a lot more fun, and a part of you feels like your life doesn't feel right now. Not that you're not having fun, but there are some things that don't belong in your life, and they have to do with the kind of vibe that is around you. It doesn't feel natural. So expect for your feelings to really level up over the next 2 weeks, in the sense that you will start to realize that it has a lot to do with you, and it has a lot to do with how you talk to yourself. You see, the 9 of Cups has a lot to do with how you talk to yourself. It's not just about a wish. This person is free because they understand that they don't have to cling on to a certain mindset. And maybe a part of you got stuck somewhere. And when you got stuck with a pattern, again, it has to do with habits, or it has to do with certain types of conversations even. This is now the challenge for you, but you're up for it. You see you're up for it, and you're going to triumph. And the reason why you're going to triumph is because the next 2 cards are the Hierophant and the Temperance. You have some really powerful stuff coming up. And I think that you can put yourself into a position that will provide purpose. The Hierophant card has a lot to do with purpose. Feeling like your life has this purpose that doesn't need anything else on the outside value first and foremost. It's something that comes from your belief system. And a part of you is gonna be honest with yourself about that. Not that you're not, but again, we all have been sort of in a fog, right? We're all coming out of this fog right now that is going to put us onto a particular sort of, mission or a declaration, so to speak, that we're going to be making with ourselves over the next 2 weeks. So for you, this has to do with a purpose that you're going to nail down and you're going to work this over. And I have to say, this purpose is going to grow. Surprisingly, it's going to be a surprise to you over this year. It's going to grow, it's sort of like one of these things that you're going to start to notice. You're going to come more and more back to yourself. And you actually are going to find that not only will you get joy from this, but you will find a deep fulfillment if you stick to cutting out the things in your life that are not belonging anymore. Okay. So that's Gemini. Powerful reading so far. Okay. So let's move on to Cancer. Let's take a look for Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising. What do you guys need to hear? And what's coming up? So a couple of cards that fell out. All right, we have the Sun. So this is a reset time for a lot of the Cancers. It's almost like, the first thing that pops into my head with this card is a lot of you have been waiting for this time. My voice is a little bit weird right now. A lot of you have been waiting for this time. What is this time about? This time is about you feeling you are finally free from a situation. This situation has been going on for many, many years. And it has to do with particular relationships that really overpowered you. Okay. The overpowering had a lot to do with family dynamics. They had a lot to do with, I almost feel like for a lot of you, it had a lot to do with where you felt like you were not heard, but if you also went up against it, then it made things worse. And so you had to sort of just accept things for what they are, but really the energies weren't supporting for you to break free from this during that time, because the lesson was that you needed to deepen the relationship with who you are and what is really the most important to you, what you know about yourself. What do you know about yourself? What do you know to be true about yourself? You know that you are a particular, type of person that is, fill in the blank, right? Generous, loving, compassionate, giving. But perhaps a part of you never gave a lot of attention to this aspect of yourself. Perhaps a part of you was playing it nice. And so you are going to make some very important decisions over the next couple of weeks that have a lot to do with expanding on things that matter to you when it comes to your career, when it comes to, it's bigger than career. It's almost like it's an investment into the future. But it also will come with a decision where you know that you have to make perhaps a sacrifice in the future that you may, it's going to pay off later, but it's going to come almost like the sacrifice has to do with a period of time where you might be away from the family, or a period of time where you have to sacrifice time. Let's just say it in that kind of a way. If it's not family, it's friends. If it's not friends, it is the environment. But the sacrifice comes with time. So you're making that decision. I'm not sure that you're sharing that decision yet. Apart. Some of you are not going to be sharing that decision making yet. It's just all internal still. But an opportunity comes up in the next 6 weeks. Let me know how it unfolds. Leo, you were ready for your reading, and I swear I shuffled the cards. Can we just talk about how the moon card keeps falling out? Leo, this is the card for you too. I think we pulled it for several of the signs. Wow, what a powerful time, right? Why is it powerful? Well, the reason it's powerful is because when we talk about the moon, we're talking about introspection that leads to change. When we are aware of what it is that we need to do in our lives next, what phase we're in and what we have to focus on, our lives become better. And there is a richness to it, right? With the moon. And that is what you're experiencing at this time as well. And over the next 2 weeks, the themes are going to be with the depth of how you feel, how you really feel, and what is in your heart, what you know that now you must do. It's almost like you're being called forth, especially during Pisces season. You're going to be expanding on your life sort of mission, on your legacy a lot. And this legacy has a lot to do with what you've now learned, because the next 2 weeks, you are actually going to be either, I don't know if you're signing a contract or if you're making a sort of a verbal agreement with someone, but there is a learning curve that comes with it. And you are going to learn a lot more about what you're capable of doing. And this has a lot to do with change too, which is not the easiest right now for you, just because there is a lot of sort of demands or demanding sort of situations in a good way. You're going to learn, you're going to grow with how you relate. And it has a lot to do with being kinder to yourself. And then as a result, to your life in general and everything else that you're relating to, right? This has to do with the people around you. And this may even have to do with the people in your life that you don't necessarily like. There's a part of you that is going to come to a place where you're going to say to yourself, you're going to have to let go. You're going to have to put down the fight for now, because you're going to have to let karma take care of what it needs to take care of, because you cannot worry about it anymore, because you are being invited to expand. And the learning curve here has a lot to do with you not paying attention to the things in your life that don't make any sense right now, that you cannot solve the issue. You don't know why things are the way that they are. You don't know why those people are the way that they are, or why they are behaving the way that they have been. And that's okay. These cards are saying that's okay. You've got to now move on in a new direction. And a lot of you are going to meet someone. If you are single, you're going to be meeting someone that is very exciting, but it starts as a friendship. You see, you will have a choice later if you want it to be something more. It starts as a friendship, or it starts as someone who is very intriguing, but they seem to be spiritually a lot more aligned with the way that you are, with the way that you vibe. And so this is going to be an exciting new journey. It could be a friendship, right? Like a friend to friend thing or friend to friend emotion, but there's sort of like, I adore this person type of feeling when you meet them, and you want to be close to this person. You want to invest into this new person. So look out for that as well. Really interesting stuff. All right, let's move on to Virgo. Interesting, Virgo, Four of Swords. That's the first card that fell out. Fate is definitely taking over. Look at the cards that you have, Four of Swords, and we have the Judgment. This is a time where you have been working on a project, or you have been working on finding the courage to become this person out in the open, in the public, and be seen, or sort of being in the spotlight. And when I mean spotlight, I'm not talking about spotlight because you want people to, give you the most likes on social media, or none of that. None of the kind of spotlight that we think about when we first hear that word. It is more about being recognized for your skill set, because there's a particular skill set that you have, and it, no matter what you try to do over the last many months, and even some of you for years, the delivery of what you were doing, it wasn't quite landing. It didn't fit. Something about it didn't fit. What didn't fit about it? The time. The Judgment has a lot to do with spiritual timing. This is the time now, though. This is the time now for you to really come out. The space and the time is the right time. If you don't do it now, if you're still in a space where you're doubting, it's going to take you a lot longer. Whatever it is that you want to put into motion in your life, whether that is a new career, a new relationship, it does not matter. Both, all of the above. The time is now. And here's the most important message. With the Judgment, you are strengthening or getting the opportunity to strengthen that. You cannot screw it up. You see, a part of you is afraid that you're going to screw this up, or are you crazy for going into this direction? And you're not. You're not. You see, everything that you have assessed and accumulated as far as knowledge, everything that you have learned from, especially the freaking relationship challenges that you have been through, it was exactly what you needed. It was the right dose of what? Boundary settings. You see, you're the type of person that appreciates right now for people to give you the time and the space to work on you. And if you cannot work on you within the relationship space, if people are still coming to you because they need some kind of dose of healing, special attention, and they're not giving you the kind of space that you are looking to be given, because that's the space that you gave them for the many years, I just don't see how you're going to, I feel like a lot of you are going to cut this relationship out. You're not going to stay with it anymore. You're simply just not, it's sort of like you're in this place where you just don't care anymore. That some people are coming back to you or sending you text messages or sending you messages where there's a part of you that knows it's one-sided. And for the first time in a long time, I think you're starting to realize that these are the reasons why you were unhappy. Because you never held the necessary boundary, you see, to be worthy of receiving it back. Not that you didn't think that you weren't worthy, but you needed to sort of see the types of betrayals in order for you to understand where your threshold is at. Within relationship dynamics, it does not matter what kind it is. It could be an acquaintance, it could be a coworker, it could be romantic. This is your time now. And so as you go along in this journey over the next 2 weeks, the phase that you're in is to see a little bit more of the people who really just gained more from you than you did from them. It's important for you to see that. One more round, okay? It's important for you to see it because the relationships you're going to be building from this moment forward will be very different. And it will require for you to trust that the relationships will be very different because you're different. There's still a little bit of this fear running in the background that you might still kind of run into these issues. You will not. That cycle is over. The Judgment is so powerful, one of the most powerful cards in the tarot. This is a new time. This is faded. This is deep. This is not something that can be avoided. This is incredibly purposeful in that you are in a different time, and this different time has a lot to do with you opening up to being a person that you wanted to be, but it's going to unfold a lot more beautifully and a lot more expansive that you can see right now. And the beauty of that is that you're not meant to see it all. You're meant to live through it because the memories will be with you forever. You're going to reach higher and higher in the threshold of good emotions that there are to experience. So stay open. That's the message. Let's move on to Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising. If you're joining in, welcome. We are doing a tarot reading for all of the 12 signs. 2 cards that have been repeating is the Moon and the Sun. I can't believe it. The Sun card fell out again. Libra. Libra, you have been through a lot. Okay. the sun is coming out. You know why? Because this is a lot of a reset moment for many of the signs. Now, for you, Libra, it has a lot to do with what you really like in your life. But there is a time now that requires for you to have a plan. And this plan must have a practical backup. So that means that you need to change your schedule. So like, for example, if right now you're doing 5 different things and you have 5 different, responsibilities in your schedule, I see that for many of you, you're going to cut things out of your schedule. And it's going to come sudden. It's going to be sudden to the people in your life. There is a part of you that it just doesn't feel that you can move on the way that you have been doing, because the lifestyle that you're living now is more heart-centered. And that is what this full moon in Leo is igniting, right? And so next week, when Mercury is going to be squaring Uranus, this is when you're going to come into alignment of like, yeah, that doesn't work in my day-to-day anymore. I got to cut this out. But the thing that you're going to cut out also comes with a little bit of a surprise. And that has to do with people around you that you had a little bit of this suspicion that there was something weird going on with them. It's not related to you, but you see it's helping you, because whatever it is that you weren't vibing with anymore, you're going to disconnect from it truly next week. That's when you're going to start, like, energetically, right? In your mind, in your heart, it's like, I'm done with that. You're going to communicate what you need to communicate, because what you really are moving towards are things that make you happy. And the things that make you happy, that is what needs to expand right now. And there cannot be any kind of doubt in this anymore. And that's what I'm predicting for a lot of you, is that the vibe is you're not doubting this anymore. You're moving in that direction. There are opportunities here for you to create some work that's meaningful, more valuable to you. And it translates into a lifestyle that you can see yourself living. And so there are some ingredients here, such as time and set of responsibilities that you are happy to take on when you think about the long term. So the future is on your mind. I had to pull another card. Yeah, absolutely. 8 of Wands. The 8 of Wands is about making a decision on what's best for you. So that's what's coming. You're making a decision on what's best for you, and what really, it's an undeniable part of your life, sort of this moment where you just feel like, this is what makes me happy. This is what I want to do. And there is a sort of a sudden communication that you are even doing with other people in your life that, you're just not going to feel bad about what it is that you're sharing with them anymore. You're just moving on. Whereas I think in the past, you would have felt really bad about, making yourself the priority, or, this part of you needs to come first. And so you don't feel that anymore. And I think for a couple of days, there's sort of this integration phase for a lot of you, integrating, really, reassuring that what you're doing now is the best. It is a more happy lifestyle, and that's okay. These are the things that you have to do. Go for it is the message. 8 of Wands, go for it. All right. So we're going to move on to Scorpio. Scorpio, sun, moon, rising. Scorpio, sun, moon, rising. No cards yet. Do you want your cards read, Scorpio? We're warming up. That's what we're doing. We're warming up the cards. Do we have any Scorpios in the chat? You guys are not going to believe this. You're not going to believe this. Guess what card fell out again? The moon card. Wow. I'm just like, really, I am absolutely blown away at the fact that the moon card fell out again. Talk about, again, a richness and a depth of emotions that, none of us will avoid at this point, because the energies are so different now. You know, the stuff that we have been going through collectively since 2020 has brought us to a place where we cannot avoid things in our life anymore, because Pluto at these last degrees is showing us that if we avoid things, you know, there's a big price to pay. We can't do it, because the promise is that we can really break through. We can do things very different for the first time in a long time. And somehow you needed to hear that, Scorpio. There's a part of you that's been toying around with a huge change in your life, because you've been taking a look at the bigger picture. Some of you, this involves money. Some of you, this involves an emotional change that has a lot to do with your environment. Okay. And it has a lot to do with moving on from some old, I'm not going to say that they were bad things or things that were challenging. It's just a chapter in your life that has to do with a lot of memories that you are thankful for, grateful for, but it's now time to move on. And I feel that you're sort of in this place, I think, where you're starting to realize that it's go time as far as moving, as far as changing jobs, as far as adding that, extra time to create perhaps a project even that promises sort of a lifestyle that you can see yourself living, but it promises also money. Okay. This has to do with money as well. It has to do with what you feel that you need every day. You need this amount of money, or you want to create this amount of money, because this is the way in which you are going to support the lifestyle that you want. And the truth of that is coming up this week. And then next week, you are adding some details to what you're working out. You're adding the details, but it requires for you to really tune in next week. The reason it requires for you to really tune in next week is because perhaps there is an aspect about how you want to make money, or how you want to increase finances or assets that you didn't maybe think about. And if you tune in with yourself, a little bit of meditation, a little bit of like a walk, a little bit of taking time out to really tune in with what it is that you need to do right now, you're gonna figure this out. You're gonna figure this out. It's a small shift that you need to make, and it has to do with something you had not considered before. That's what I'm seeing. Now, a lot of you are going to be in this place where some of you, I feel like, are moving. It's either that you're moving, or you're starting to see that your life needs to be lived in a different kind of a way. So like, let's say you were living in the city, then, now you're like, in the future, I want to be by the beach. So you start a process. You're not doing all of this next week, you're not doing it this week, but you're starting the process to it, because there's a lot more detail that has to get worked out. And the details have to do with, okay, how are you going to get there, right? How are you going to get to this point where you're going to live this kind of a lifestyle that you're envisioning, or it's kind of feeling that you're going for. And it requires for you to now create the backing of it, whether it's financial, whether it's the type of, house you want to be in, the type of neighborhood you want to be in, the type of, car you want to drive, whatever these details are, you are going to set that into motion by next week. So your belief about all of that is changing, and it's becoming a lot stronger in what you were already intuiting. Maybe a part of you felt like you didn't know where things were going, but now you do. Now you will, and it's so interesting, because there's an incident with the family, or people you consider family, or people that are close to you, that is going to be unfolding that you will not like, but this incident is going to strengthen what it is that you believe. This is what is this is sort of going to bring everything into a good perspective for you. There's something that you don't like, and what you don't like about this scenario will have a lot to do with you feeling restrictions. It's a memory of restrictions. It's not that you're maybe restricted right in this very moment, but like it's a memory of restrictions, and you don't like that, and you don't want to put yourself into that situation. Not with this type of person or in this surrounding. You don't want to do that. For some of you, if you have kids, this will have to do with you making a huge decision in regards to the future of your kids as well. That came through. Some of you needed to hear that. Interesting. All right. I think that's it for now, Scorpio. Big changes. Okay. Sagittarius. Sagittarius, what's going on with you? You're in an interesting place. You have been holding on to something for quite some time. You feel that you needed to hold on to this because this is really interesting because, again, this is a prediction that I gave you a month ago. You are not fully understanding or seeing the bigger picture yet about the actions that are not being taken. You see, there's some actions that are not being taken by people that have made you promises, the Two of Cups, about where you need to be in their life, or the promises of what you mean to them. But you've been holding on to something here that you have been holding on for too long. The lesson is that you need to understand why you're holding on to it. There's an outdated idea of safety, and it's connected to love, and it's connected to being loved or feeling like you're loved. This is so interesting right now, okay, Sagittarius, because it's almost like, you see, it's about moving on. We're going to get to these cards in just a moment. Let's dive into this a little bit more. The Four of Pentacles has to do with a life that you have been living up until this now that was providing you a good foundation. Okay. You were getting things done. You were getting the bills paid. You were doing things in a way that it was fine. But at some level, you knew in the background, what was running in the background was, okay, I'm not feeling the fire, not with this, not with this person, not with this lifestyle, not with this amount of money, not with it's sort of like what's missing is the heart in it all. It's almost like the energy is dull. Yes, that is the Four of Pentacles right now. Inside of all of this, perhaps you have been believing that it was going to get there. You were going to have this emotion. You were going to get there. You were going to feel this thing. You were going to, feel that romance, feel the excitement behind the money, feel like, you would feel more fulfilled, more happy, more joyful. And you've been waiting, still waiting. So there's stuff that's breaking down now in regards to this that require for you to take a look at what you need to get really honest with yourself. What is the thing is, this happens to all of us, the energy takes over where we hold on to something. We believe in it so much that it blurs what's actually happening. And that's the type of situation that I feel that you are going to be going through in the next 2 weeks. Once you get to what's actually happening, seeing things for what they actually are, you are going to be so freaking powerful. because right now we went from the Two of Cups to the Eight of Cups to the King of Cups. It's not going to take you very long to understand where you've been robbing yourself from moving on. It's not as difficult as you think it is. It is not as hard as you think it is to make the emotional changes right now to come into a place of acceptance. Right now, the energies are telling you, if you accept where you're at and what's happening, and if you just get honest with yourself, like what is actually happening? What is it that you want? You might surprise yourself by actually speaking this out loud and saying it to the people around you. Like, here's what I really want. And when you say it, what happens very often is that the energy that blocked you, or the energy that was sort of like creating the stagnation, it moves, it starts to move, which is what the Six of Swords is. The question is, are you going to do it? Because a part of you, again, the Four of Pentacles can be a very sort of like, I can't see. I don't want to see. I want to hold on. It's the woman that's holding on to the purse in the picture. Let me show you again. The woman that's holding on to the purse in the picture. In some instances, it's fine, but not in this one. It's time to just take the sort of the glasses off and start to pay attention. Is this furthering you, or is this hindering you from living a life that needs to be explored? Because in a way, right now, this year for a lot of you is about reverse engineering your happiness. We're going to talk about this a lot more. But what I'm getting for a lot of you, Sagittarius, is that what you want can happen. What you define as the most happiest version of yourself can happen. And right now, you are to pay attention to the people in your life, the stuff that's happening in your life, and the actions that are not being taken. Okay. The actions that are not being taken, like you don't even have to try to wonder about this person, or you don't have to try to wonder about this situation or this scenario. Like people are going to show you, and you cannot assume this year, because a lot of people are going to still be working through their own junk and their own reassessing and their own redefining of like what they want for their path. So inside all of that, the biggest invitation here is for you to really go moment to moment to discover and find out what makes you the happiest. What does your life look like to its fullest? And what do you want? What do you freaking want? What do you want? Because sometimes what you want can be created, but not maybe in the vision or the picture that you thought it needed to be. It can be, you got to peel it back to the emotion, not to the vision or the image right now. You got to peel it back to the feeling of it and start there. And that reverse engineering is going to take you far. Regardless, it's going to happen. A lot of you are going to go through this process. I'm just giving you sort of a bigger picture point of view of what the process is that you're moving through. And only you can do it. Only you can do it. There's nobody else that can do it. Only you can do it. That is, I think, the message for a lot of the signs, this year. Only you are able to move through this process. Like nobody else can sort of, go with you through this process. They can support you, but right now you are to move through it on your own, because there's a lot of discovering that needs to happen. And it leads to an incredible rewarding situation in your life that is going to show you that it was totally worth it, but not, you can't quite see it yet. And that is what is there to pay attention to, is what do you believe? What do you really want? Peel it back to the feeling and start there. Okay. It's going to clear your mind. It's coming next week. All right. Capricorn. Do we have any Capricorns in the chat? I know we have people popping in and out. Okay, Capricorn, sun, moon, or rising. This is a big period for a lot of the Capricorns, you know. Some of you are going through an entire change spiritually with your faith, what it is that you're believing in. You are breaking sort of the norm. You're breaking out of the norm. You're doing things very different in your life. It has been emotional at some level. It has been rewarding at some level. It's been everything in between. This is where you're at. You feel that you're emotionally now strong to take on this new chapter in your life. And it has a lot to do with also taking some risks when it comes to money, taking some risks when it comes to investments. A lot of you are investing into new areas when it comes to career, when it comes to your time, when it comes to your money, when it comes to even buying things that will be more of value, because there's a part of you that feels like you feel very drawn to investing your time or money or your almost like also educating yourself into a new field, because you feel that you need to prep like that. Your message for the next 2 weeks is pretty simple. It is that you're making the right investments and you're gonna start to see that. Okay. Now, there is a very important person in your life right now that needs your help, or you need to talk to this person, because whatever this conversation is, you guys are going to come up with a brilliant idea, a brilliant solution to a situation in your life that requires more fine tuning or requires details. But perhaps you guys haven't taken out the time to sit down. I almost feel like there's this like image of like having to take time out, going through like data or going through information or knowledge or processing sort of emails or data or numbers. And when you guys do this, you're going to come up with a brilliant solution, a brilliant idea. It may require even for you to travel somewhere. Some of you, not all of you. Okay. This is a big time. When it comes to love and romance right now, you guys have to sort of put some things on hold when it comes to stuff that you're trying to create there. If you're dating someone, be patient. If you are in a romantic relationship, you guys are trying to create like a plan for this year, be patient. A lot more of this planning will come into place in April. Right now, you are to pay attention to you're doing new things that require your attention. Okay. And they require for you to work out the details in the day-to-day and the lifestyle. So your message is really clear. It's almost like, I really don't see for many of you that you're going to have a difficult time in the next 2 weeks. I don't. Just because you feel emotionally that you're very in tune and your faith is becoming stronger. This will make sense to a lot of you. Your faith is a lot stronger than where it was like a year ago. So a lot of you have been redoing your faith, your spirituality, what you believe in, strengthening this aspect. Okay. Whether you call it God, source, universe, whatever speaks to you specifically more, you've been really working on this aspect and you finally feel like that you are solid in this area. So you're going to be working that out, Aquarius, sun, moon, or rising. Beautiful. I think that it's really interesting. Magician and the Ace of Wands, right? We have the two cards that speak to beginnings, and they speak to an energy where we begin again. So a lot of you it's almost like you're declaring now some new thing about yourself, but it has to do with your identity. It has to do with who you are. It has to do with your identity. It has to do with you announcing sort of to the world This is who I am now. This is how we're going to move forward. Okay. And an old part of you dies off. Okay. It just doesn't work anymore. An old part of you has to go because a lot of your way of thinking is attached to it. It brought you to a certain point. Then there was a lot of breakdowns that happened over the last 2 years, and you really dived into your spirituality. You had to sort of find your spiritual self again because you started to notice that maybe you were putting your faith into the wrong people, into the wrong energies, into the wrong vibes. And so this is a beautiful time now for you to really dive into creating almost like this feeling of feeling free again, but more than that, because a lot of it will have to do also with feeling more valuable, feeling like you are in this place where you're expanding as a person, but a declaration is necessary. I know this sounds really weird what I'm about to say, but it's almost like you have to declare something. You have to get something off your chest. And this is sort of building up. So by next week, when you're at this point where you may have to sort of declare it, or you may have to sort of speak your mind about something, or you have to say it because it's just pouring out of you, do it. You know, I almost feel like you're coming to this point where you just come out with it. It's almost like you're snapping out of this chapter, and then boom, you're in the next chapter. So choose wisely what it is that you're declaring, because whatever it is that you're going to put out there, it is freaking powerful. That energy takes on it moves. Okay. And you're on that wave. You will know what I mean. So there is an important person that plays a role here as well. It's almost like you're having conversation with him. That's what I'm seeing with him, or, with this person that plays a big role when it comes to your biggest support system. And once you are done talking to that person, it's on, you're moving in a new direction. This also comes with a new opportunity, and this new opportunity has to do with you. I don't know if you're doing like a tryout, or if you are going somewhere where you're going to have to perform, or if you're going somewhere where you're going to have to sort of like show your skill sets, but some kind of opportunity like this is going to come up as well, or you have the idea to put the application through. This all comes next week, and it's also a surprise, but the vibe is just the right vibe. And so you're going to be hyper focused on this as well. So it's a good thing. That's another thing to validate this aspect. It's a good thing. So amazing reading so far for Aquarius. And that's all I'm seeing right now. You guys are in a good place. And it's important to you that you now build upon this good place. Pisces. 10 of Swords. You're ending a lot of things, Pisces. A lot of old memories, or ongoing memories, or ongoing situations in your life that are now closing. You're looking in a new direction. It's going to change what you do every day and how you live your life every day. A lot of you are moving, it's almost like you're literally quite literally moving like the scenery, like you are moving and the scenery is changing. As a result of it, obviously, what you look at is changing. Who you interact with is changing. You've learned a lot over the last many years as far as what you need in order to really nurture yourself. So part of you is almost ready to kind of put this back out. What you have gotten, you now want to give this out in a way where it makes sense to you and it makes sort of sense. But perhaps a part of you is like, who are all of the people? Because you are anticipating that there's going to be relationship changes as well. And let me tell you, there will be relationship changes as far as you having a better friendship circle or a better sort of support system or a strengthening of these areas. But there's a coming together in the future, and it's becoming a part of the plan. It just is a time where you feel nostalgia almost, like you feel a little bit like this is a transition period, you're right in the transition period. March is going to move a lot of this stuff for you. It's going to be great. I think you're going to enjoy it, but also allow for yourself to grieve. It's important that you do that. Why is it important for you to do that? Because it allows for you to close that chapter that is ending, that had a lot of beautiful memories in it. But where you're headed now is a whole new chapter, and there's more things to explore, and accepting the things that are ending and allowing for yourself to be in that space is going to seal it a bit more in a way where it's complete, and that is an important message here. Queen of Swords. What do you need in order to be complete? What do you need to feel? What do you need time for? Take that time. I feel like this week mostly is going to be the energies are treating you in a way where it is challenging, in a sense, again, that there's this type of change happening, but it's nothing that you cannot navigate. That's another thing I want to say. It's nothing that you cannot navigate. Next week brings a lot more excitement. Just allow for yourself to take care of yourself this week. This is going to be really important. All right. We went through all of the 12 signs. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching. I am so excited to connect with you guys. This is like the coolest thing that we do now, being able to connect on the internet this way and this kind of, in this kind of a way. And I am just grateful for it. I'm grateful that I'm here with you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for watching. You guys let me know in the comment section how things are unfolding for you over the next 2 weeks. And then I am going to see you in the next episode. Stay tuned. We're going to start a weekly new thing in March, and then more stuff that I have been working on. Thank you so much for being patient, you guys. And I'm wishing you a lot of blessings with this beautiful full moon in Leo. Thank you so much. See you soon.